Minneapolis just dropped over $10 billion into new projects, and people all over the country are trying to figure out what's going on here. I've been in this market for over 7 years, seeing how things actually play out on the ground. And in this video, I'll walk you through what each of these projects means and which areas are already benefiting from them. The first thing I see people focus on when they're looking at a real estate market is jobs and prices. But the people who actually get ahead are watching hospitals. And right now, the Twin Cities have one of the most interesting healthcare stories in the country. Healthcare systems don't spend hundreds of millions in one place unless they're confident people will keep moving there. When you see multiple hospital systems all expanding at the same time in the same metro, that's big institutional money making a long-term bet. And that's exactly what's going on right here. The biggest project is in South Minneapolis with Allina Health, which is building a 10-story surgical and critical care center at Abbott Northwestern Hospital, the largest project in its history. We're talking over 500,000 square feet, 30 operating rooms, and around 200 patient rooms, all set to open later this year. And it keeps going. Mayo Clinic, with its main campus in Rochester, about an hour and a half southeast of the Twin Cities, just launched a $5 billion plan called Bold Forward Unbound. This runs over several years and completely reworks their campus, where they're building 5 new buildings, AI built into care systems, and even underground tunnels moving supplies around. Demos started a couple years back, and the first buildings could open as early as 2028. When we get into the mega projects later, you'll see how this kind of investment shows up in ways most people miss. Now, on top of that, the University of Minnesota and Fairview Health just locked in a 10-year deal, with Fairview investing $1 billion in medical facilities on campuses over the next decade, on a system that trains about 70% of doctors in Minnesota. Locking that in long-term is a huge signal for where this region is headed, and none of this happens in isolation. New medical campuses pull everything around them forward, bringing housing demand, new retail, and better infrastructure. So you're seeing that buildup in the western suburbs, the southern suburbs, and out toward the edges of the metro. Once you see what else is happening in these same areas, it all starts to really click. Now, this is usually where people ask me what this actually means if you're trying to buy or sell right now. And if you are thinking about making a move here, maybe relocating or making a move locally, upsizing, downsizing, or just trying to figure out which area fits your life best, my team and I can help you through that. My contact info is in the description below. Feel free to reach out. Okay, let's keep going. When it comes to jobs, people usually don't look at it the way they should when they're checking out a city. It's not enough to just see what kind of jobs are available. You've got to understand which ones are actually sticking around and which ones are starting to change. And right now in the Twin Cities, a lot is going on under the surface. You're seeing shifts in corporate space, with Target pulling back a lot of its downtown footprint and Thomson Reuters going from a sprawling campus in Eagan to something much smaller. That part is real, but at the same time, hiring in healthcare, construction, and manufacturing stayed active through late 2025. So the jobs aren't disappearing. And underneath all of that, the foundation here is really strong, especially after the Twin Cities received the highest concentration of Fortune 500 companies in the country. You've got Target, United Health Group, Best Buy, General Mills, 3M, and US Bank. These are companies that built a stable, high-level job market that keeps this region moving. And when we get into transit, you'll see that the infrastructure going in right now is being built for a region that's still growing as well. So stay with me. Now, on top of those big companies, there's a whole innovation layer building up. There's a $1.1 billion aerospace research complex planned in Rosemount that was announced earlier this year. On top of that, Neuron Magnetics, a Minneapolis-based company, just started building a 190,000 square foot facility focused on rare earth-free magnets, which is a big deal in advanced manufacturing. And MedTech 3.0, a federally designated tech hub, is pulling from the University of Minnesota and the deep medical device talent that's already here. Every time a major employer grows or moves into the area, it creates a ripple effect. You see more demand for housing, more restaurants, more retail, and more pressure on infrastructure. But that usually shows up in real estate about 18 to 24 months later. So what's happening here isn't just steady. The Twin Cities are adding high-paying, innovation-driven jobs that are starting to shift where people want to live and be. And where people are actually choosing to move right now, it's probably not what you'd actually expect. Imagine walking into a neighborhood and realizing that 6 years ago, it was a shut down factory. The streets you're on, the park you're sitting in, the water you're looking at, all of it built from scratch on land most cities would have just left alone. That's what's going on at Highland Bridge right now. So let's start there, over in St. Paul's Highland Park. When the Ford plant shut down, the city had to figure out what to do with 122 acres sitting right along one of the best parts of the river. What they built is pretty incredible, with Highland Bridge becoming a fully walkable neighborhood that includes around 3,800 homes, more than 20 acres of parks, and a ton of retail space. And right in the middle of it, they brought a creek back to the surface that had been buried for generations, with everything blending seamlessly into the surrounding area and no hard cutoffs. As of 2026, the main infrastructure is done and new homes are still going up, with this already proving to be one of the most ambitious projects of this kind anywhere in the country. Now, if that project shows what you can do with old industrial land, the next one shows something the entire country is trying to figure out right now: how to build a net zero community at scale. The Heights sits on 112 acres on the east side of St. Paul, where the Hillcrest Golf Course used to be. The whole neighborhood runs on a shared geothermal system with an aquifer about 350 to 500 feet underground that heats and cools every home and building. You're looking at around 1,000 homes and about 1 million square feet of industrial space, all powered without individual gas systems. Lower energy bills, much lower emissions. The project earned LEED Platinum, which is the highest level for sustainability, and it's only the second community like this in the country. Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity is taking on its largest project ever here, with the first homes expected this summer. And if things keep going this way, it will become a model for other cities around the country. And when we get into the undervalued areas coming up, this is a big part of why those outer areas are starting to move, so stick around. Now, the third project here is different, focusing on reconnecting a part of the city that's been cut off for a long time. Upper Harbor Terminal is a 48-acre site along the Mississippi in North Minneapolis that for almost a century blocked the north side from the river. And now it's being turned into a park and a cultural hub. There's going to be about a 20-acre riverfront park and an amphitheater that holds 8,000 people coming together through a partnership between First Avenue and the Minnesota Orchestra. Groundbreaking happened in March 2026, with the first events in 2027 planned. Around 50 major events each year, and part of every ticket going right back into the local community. The city also secured a $12.5 million state grant to support local youth and small businesses. Think about a summer night out there a year from now. The Mississippi right behind you, a full crowd and a neighborhood finally getting its riverfront back. That's what this project is building toward, and it's one of the most interesting urban stories in the country right now. But these projects are only part of what's going on, and the next piece is where buyers are already starting to get ahead of the market. I'm going to be real with you here. This is the kind of thing I'd pull a friend aside and tell them one-on-one. Right now, the opportunity in the Twin Cities isn't spread out evenly, and the people who get ahead over the next 5 to 10 years are the ones who move early before things really start to take off. You know, for a long time, demand has been centered in the western suburbs: Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, Plymouth, Maple Grove, and the Lake Minnetonka areas. These are great places, established and priced like it, so there's not much hidden value left there really. The next area starting to move is along I-94 heading northwest out of Minneapolis towards St. Cloud, St. Michael, Elberville, Monticello, and the communities along that stretch. You're seeing new homes going up, new restaurants and retail opening, and school enrollment growing. All early signs of a market picking up before most people notice. And these places aren't as far as they seem on a map. They sit right along Interstate 94, which is one of the main routes into the downtown city. MnDOT is wrapping up a major $76 million upgrade, expanding that stretch to 6 lanes between Elberville and Monticello. The full project should wrap up later this year, so getting in and out is about to get a lot easier. I've been watching St. Michael and Elberville pretty closely, both in my work and just personally, and this is one of those areas where you can still get in early. The growth is already showing up, access keeps getting better, and prices haven't fully caught up yet. The school districts here are stronger than most people expect if they're coming from outside of the area. In Maple Grove, which anchors this stretch, the high school is in the middle of a major expansion to handle more students as well. And right at Interstate 94 and Highway 610, there's a large mixed-use project that just updated its plans to include medical offices, a hospital component, and multi-family housing. That kind of layered development only shows up where there's real confidence. And what's really driving people into these areas is where the infrastructure story starts to come in. Now, you know what actually moves real estate values more than almost anything else? When your commute gets shorter. And the Twin Cities just did something most cities in the US struggle to pull off. They actually followed through on transit. They opened 3 new bus rapid transit lines in 1 year. The Metro Gold Line opened in March 2025, and it's the first one in the state running its own dedicated bus-only lanes. The Metro B Line opened later that June, connecting uptown to St. Paul along Lake Street and Marshall Avenue. And the Metro E Line in December, running from the University of Minnesota down to Edina, with buses every 10 to 15 minutes. These are a different kind of setup with dedicated lanes, upgraded stations, and a design that actually competes with driving. Looking ahead, the Green Line extension is already under construction with an expected 2027 opening out to Eden Prairie. That directly connects one of the fastest growing and highest income suburban areas straight into downtown Minneapolis by light rail. That kind of connection changes where people are willing to live, and you usually see it show up in prices before the line even opens. On the road side, MnDOT has about $1.5 billion in projects running statewide later this year, with significant investments in the city itself. That covers street rebuilds, bridge repairs, water main upgrades, and lead line replacements across dozens of projects. That kind of investment tells you the region is putting money back into itself, not just relying on what's already there. And then you've got the MSP airport, which just keeps expanding both capacity and connections. And for the Fortune 500 companies based here, being able to move people in and out of the city easily is basically required, something that MSP consistently delivers on. What's happening here is that the region is actively changing how people move between neighborhoods, and when that shifts, demand starts showing up in places most people aren't fully paying attention to yet. And where do you really start to see that shift show up? It's in how the suburbs are changing right now. There's a signal I always watch before almost anything else, and it has nothing to do with inventory or home prices. As weird as it sounds, I pay attention to where the restaurants are going, and there's a simple reason for that. Money follows people, and restaurants follow money. And right now across the Twin Cities, you can see that everywhere. When higher income buyers start moving into an area in bigger numbers, the lifestyle pack shows up fast. New restaurants, entertainment, and retail. And right now, both in the city and out in the suburbs, you can see that next level starting to take shape. The biggest suburban story right now is the Mystic Lake Amphitheater in Shakopee, a 19,000 seat outdoor venue run by Live Nation, opening this summer. It's the main piece of a $400 million development called Canterbury Commons, expected to drive about $138 million a year in economic impact. This might sound like a downtown story, but it's happening out in the suburbs, where areas south and southwest of the city are becoming real destinations, with people going there to spend time, not just to live. And it's not just Shakopee. In Woodbury, Central Park just opened up after a $42 million upgrade with a full redesign, new features, and updated indoor space. In Lakeville, Grand Prairie Park, a 68-acre sports and outdoor complex, started construction in 2024, with parts opening through this year. In Burnsville, there's a $45 million sports complex in the pipeline for 2026, with a multi-level driving range and pickleball courts. On the city side, North Loop Green, a 1 million square foot mixed-use project that finished in mid-2024, is already anchoring one of the most in-demand areas with a 34-story residential lore, major offense tenants like KPMG and Piper Sandler, and a 1-acre public park right in the center. This is happening across the whole region at the same time. So that's what a real lifestyle shift looks like while it's still playing out, before everything is fully priced in and while there's still room to move. Now, what I'm about to tell you right now might sound bold, but it's the truth. The level of what's being built here is so high that people are literally flying in just to study it. You've got geothermal neighborhoods built at scale, with old industrial land turned into full communities that actually connect with what's already there. Then you've got riverfront projects bringing money back into neighborhoods that were left out for a long time, and bus rapid transit lines that actually got delivered on time and on budget. These are the kinds of ideas city planners across the country are trying to figure out right now, and Minneapolis and St. Paul are already putting them into the ground. In 2024, the region rolled out capital investment plans totaling around $12 billion across the state, among the highest on record. Minneapolis has also spent over $1 billion in construction every year for 15 straight years, which shows a long-term pattern. And underneath all of that, the economy here is spread out across multiple industries: healthcare, finance, advanced manufacturing, tech, life sciences, and consumer goods. You're looking at multiple sectors supporting each other, which is exactly what large investors look for before they commit serious money. Compared to coastal cities, it's still more affordable. And compared to other more affordable markets in the Midwest, it brings a level of quality of life and economic depth that's hard to match. It also consistently ranks near the top nationally for livability. The University of Minnesota and other local schools keep feeding talent into the region, and the companies hiring that talent have been here for decades and are continuing to invest. What's happening here is everything moving at once: infrastructure, neighborhoods, lifestyle, jobs, all building at the same time. That kind of momentum doesn't show up often, and that leads to the real question here. Is it too late to still get in ahead of this? In the near term, the picture is pretty clear. Highland Bridge, the Heights, and Upper Harbor Terminal are all either being built right now or starting to open. As these projects wrap up over the next few years, the areas around them start to feel it. You can already see it in Highland Park, where values have stayed strong and started trending up as Highland Bridge has come together. Over on the greater east side, where the Heights is going in, most single-family homes are still sitting in the mid to upper 200s. It doesn't usually stay the same once a project like this is fully up and running, and everything around it catches up. Along the I-94 northwest stretch, St. Michael, Elberville, Monticello, and the areas we talked about earlier, this really comes down to timing. The freeway expansion wraps up later this year. New construction and retail are already showing up, and if you're trying to get in before a market fully moves, this is one of the clearest setups in the metro right now. And then there's transit, where every new line and every new bus rail and light rail expansion brings a new wave of demand along that path. You start to see more people move in, more employers show up, and more development follows. The Green Line extension out to Eden Prairie is expected to open next year, and that kind of shift usually starts showing up before the line is even finished. What I keep coming back to is this: the Twin Cities Metro isn't some hidden market. Large investors and companies have understood the fundamentals here for a long time. But the scale of what's happening right now hasn't fully worked its way into prices across a lot of these areas yet. The outer ring suburbs, the neighborhoods near these major projects, and the areas along the new transit lines, those are the places where the opportunity is still the clearest. The cities that get built on purpose are the ones people look back on and wish they had gotten into sooner. And that's what's happening in the Twin Cities Metro right now. That window where it hasn't shown fully up yet in prices, it's closing faster than most people think. If you're trying to figure out where to position yourself before all of this fully plays out, shoot me an email today. My team and I will tell you exactly which areas we'd be watching right now. The next video I linked here picks up right where this one leaves off. It breaks down Boston Scientific's $170 million expansion that's already starting to reshape the northwest suburbs. You're going to want to watch that before making any real estate moves here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.